Alright, so I'm going to talk about something in this video that might be a little bit challenging to explore, not because it's sensitive, but because it's more so... Let's just look at it. So, I was sitting with something today, and that is that everything that I feel is a choice. This is why this is challenging. I think that a lot of people would probably disagree with that. However, I would argue that everything that is felt, everything that I feel is a choice, right? If I feel angry, it's a choice. If I feel shame, it's a choice. If I feel guilt, it's a choice, right? And so I was going through something today, and I was really feeling something very specifically. And so I thought about it, and I was like, I don't have to feel this way. And I see that as more so like an exiting of the matrix of that program, of that autopiloted reality, right? I could just so easily choose something different, right? This is a matter of where a person puts their energy. Now, it's only challenging because when a person is in autopilot, when they are locked into that matrix, right, things are very autopilot. It kind of goes A, B, C, and then that's the sequence of order, A, B, C. So A happens, then B happens, then C has to happen. A happens, B has to happen, then C happens. Now imagine if you were to take the A, B, and C. I should probably be doing it this way. A, B, and C, just for the sake of direction in the camera. And where A is, what follows it is, just for the sake of fun, Y, right? I use Y both as just a letter, it's totally out of place, and also because if you look at Y in the sense of the word why, you're asking a question, right? So A, Y, right? And it doesn't matter what comes after Y. What matters is that the Y is there and that the B is not, because if it is to be A, B, and C, it would just be the same order as it usually is. And it would be the same outcome. It would be the same way. It would be the same pattern. It would be the same experience. It would be the same thought, the same feeling, the same behavior, the same everything. Just sequentially, right? And so I look at it and it's like, all right, well, A, Y. Y is actually powerful. Not only because it's different, but because you can look at it and realize that it's changing things, right? You can look at it in the sense of you're asking the question why. You can look at it in the sense that it is something different, because regardless of whether you're asking the question why or it is something different, it's a change of direction. And that's what's important here. And so, you know, what I've really been doing, I've been looking at many different things in my life. As I've been healing, I've been looking at what's mine, what's not mine, what's necessary to feel, what I can just give back, right? You know, there's a lot of things that I've considered my shit that have actually not been my shit, right? It's kind of like, you know, the video that I was talking about yesterday, right? In the video that I was doing the exploration of all that stuff yesterday, you know, I was talking about how a baby or a toddler, it gets traumatized because it lacks crucial things like self-awareness and healthy boundaries, right? If it knew itself, it wouldn't be able to be traumatized by what traumatizes it in the environment, right? And so, therefore, it's only traumatized because it lacks those things, right? So essentially, as it grows up, it takes on different things as its own and as itself that really might not be authentic to it, right? And so, you know, it's kind of like, all right, well, the program for that person growing up is A, B, and C, which it is for everyone, because programs usually make sense, right? They go in a specific order, A, B, and C, right? Change comes in a person's life when the Y follows the A. And then even more serious change comes when the Y is the very first thing, because it's completely different. And not only that, but you're also asking why you're doing something. So if I'm experiencing something, right? If I'm experiencing, and I've learned this, by the way, previously when shame used to surface in me, I would just accept it as my own, and I would be like, oh, I feel so ashamed. I feel ashamed of myself. I should be ashamed of myself. If everyone else is telling me that I should be ashamed of myself, so I'm going to be ashamed of myself, and I'm going to feel shame, and I'm going to identify as shame, and I'm going to be shame, and I'm going to be shame-based, and all that kind of shit, right? Now, as a result of awareness, self-awareness, boundaries, and all of that stuff, what I can do is I can look at something, and I can be like, well, that's not mine. It's not. The other thing, what were my intentions? Why did I do what I did? Was it my intention to hurt somebody else? Well, no. So then therefore, do I have to spend a bunch of energy swimming in shame? No, I don't, right? And so A, B, and C, now it's at A and Y for me. And there are some times where it's probably at just Y to begin with because things have changed. This is the order of the sequence. So the reason why this is so important is because I'm looking at things in the sense that it's like, it's not just emotional intelligence. It's like on the spot becoming aware of whatever it is that I'm feeling. And that's important because if I'm feeling something that I don't need to, I do believe in congruency with whatever a person is feeling. I do. However, I also am curious as to whether or not it is productive. And not only that, but whether or not it is mine, because what I have learned as an empath, through experiences of permeable boundaries and taking on other people's energies, is that a lot of things that I have felt have actually not been my responsibility to feel. I don't need to feel them, right? It's not a matter of good or bad or right or wrong, right? That's just splitting binary black and white thinking. But I've been so used to being used by emotions throughout my entire life that now I'm like, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it, right? And that is either where the A and the Y happen or just the Y, right? I think the Y is the very serious change. That's when the transformation happens. The A and the Y are like, all right, I'm going to do this. It's not my intention to hurt anybody. Okay, I just hurt somebody. Why? The Y is the more serious introspection, right? The more serious seeing of the self, right? Previously, it was A, B, and C. A, I did something. Shit, it hurt somebody else. B, I'm a terrible, horrible piece of shit. Not true. But of course, blinded to that. And then C, I'm going to swim in shame for a long fucking time, right? So it's really a matter of looking at the experience, understanding what it is that's happening, and being able to look at everything very clearly, because that is key, really, for healing, because you really want to know, you want to see what's actually going on there, right? And really what I've just been sitting with lately, which has been very, very wonderful because it's liberating, is just asking myself what it is that I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it, right? Because, man, autopilot, the program, ABC, being used by emotions and having that dictate the cycle, the patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that just autopiloted continue over and over and over again without question, right? You need that. I don't know if I'm doing it right. It might be the other way around. You need that question. The question is necessary because that is where the transformation happens. That's where the change happens. That's getting beyond the program, right? As I believe it is Dr. Joe Dispenza says. It's a matter of getting beyond the programmed self, right? Because the program itself is just comfortable and familiar with the shame and the guilt and, I feel so bad about myself. And it's not there's anything bad about that. It's just, is it productive? Is it helpful? Is it healthy, right? If you can see things for what they are and realize that you're actually not an awful, terrible, horrible piece of shit of a person, right? And you can replace that B with a Y, and then have that Y there and start to see things differently as a result of that Y. You can even look at the A, right? The Y can look at the A and be like, whoa, what's going on here, right? And that's where the change happens. It's fucking awesome.